Hall effect keyboards have been gaining momentum, becoming more accessible and affordable over the past year. We've seen them released in various shapes and sizes, but one combination has yet to make an appearance: low profile and Hall effect. That is until now. Introducing the NuPhy Air60 HE. Before we begin, I just want to let you know that this video was sponsored by NuPhy. They provided the Air60 HE free of charge for the purpose of this review, but rest assured all opinions you hear today are completely my own and unbiased. Let's start off by taking a look at the unboxing. If you own any of NuPhy's airboards, this unboxing should feel pretty familiar, with that sleeve that pulls off, revealing the inner box. The user information sheet is first up inside, which doubles as a poster if that's what you're into, followed by the Air60 HE itself in both the plastic sleeve and dust cover. For accessories, you're getting a branded right-angled USB A to C cable, dual keycap and switch puller, followed by a good bunch of keycaps to swap out for the novelty purple ones. In my experience, NuPhy is one of those companies that put just as much thought into the unboxing experience as they do the keyboard itself. And that shone through here with the branded accessories and considerable amount of alternate keycaps. Okay, I'm going to quickly go over some of the main specs and features before we get into my own thoughts and opinions. The NuPhy Air60 HE starts off at $119.95 on NuPhy.com. Features a low-profile 60% ANSI layout with 61 keys. It features a wired-only USB Type-C connection. With low-profile magnetic switches, it enables features like rapid trigger amongst lots of exciting others. With the main specs and features out of the way, let's start by taking a surface-level look at the keyboard. So, straight off the bat, the Air60 HE maintains NuPhy's iconic low-profile aesthetic. The purple novelty keycaps aren't my absolute favourite, but honestly, I kinda like them. I think they're pretty fitting in a gaming keyboard like this, so I'm going to keep them in. This is what the board looks like with them completely swapped out for those of you who completely don't like them. At 60%, it's treading right on the line between being usable or obsolete outside of gaming, so I personally wouldn't be buying this keyboard as a one-size-fits-all main keyboard. Now, this is a NuPhy airline board, so it's got that transparent ABS plastic bottom case, with the aluminium top case, and honestly, it's a really sturdy, well-built little keyboard. To type on, there's no gasket mount going on here due to the Hall effect nature of the board, so it's got no flex at all, but more on the typing experience later in the video. Underneath, you're getting that nice mirrored backplate, but as with all mirrored surfaces, expect to fill it up with fingerprints. Other than that, height adjustable feet with 2 extra levels of adjustment and particularly nice snappy feet at that, followed by thin rubber case pads for desk grip. The edges are pretty much all clean with just that side positioned USB-C port and a mode toggle, but don't get your hopes up just yet about the M1, 2 and 3 modes. They just correspond to Windows, Mac and Windows key disabled modes. On the bright side, disabling your Windows key is super accessible, which I find to be a nice quality of life feature on this gaming keyboard. Oh yeah, and there is a bit of branding on the back edge. Thankfully it's not on the front edge like you sometimes see, but it begs the question, was it really needed if we're not really going to see it anyway? Are we going to let NuPhy away with this one? Let me know in the comments. Back on the surface, like I said, 60% layout, so not even a set of arrow keys, though you can access them through function layers. There's also a couple of RGB LED bars that by default cycle some effects, but double as caps lock and sleep mode indicators. For keycaps, we got 5-sided dice sub keycaps in NuPhy's own NSA profile. They've got some cool gaming related secondary printing, and of course the novelties are transparent, so let that RGB light right through. On the topic, I found the keycaps let that rectangular shaped bit of light through, which I found to really take away from the experience, especially in a dimmer setting like you're likely going to be in whilst gaming. But yeah, loads of RGB modes and good and bright as well. For switches, the Air60 ships with low profile magnetic jade switches with the $20 optional add-on for the Pro versions. This is where the real innovation has happened, because NuPhy managed to implement magnetic Hall effect switches in a tiny tin housing with a range of motion from 0.1 to 3.3mm. I want to quickly talk about sound before we get into the magnetic magic that you're probably all here for. So, Hall effect keyboards have been known to have a really hard time competing in the sound and feel department with traditional mechanical keyboards. And I think the Air60 HE marks the start of the bridge between the two. NuPhy absolutely managed to keep that lower pitch, deeper talk that their air keyboards are notorious for. I'd seriously consider making a case for this board as a daily driver if it weren't for the 60% layout, but if NuPhy ever drop an Air75 HE or even TKL version, we might have a real contender on our hands. Alright, I'm going to play that sound test before we go any further. Alright, I'm aware that was a whole lot of talking about everything that isn't the gaming aspect of this keyboard. So let's talk performance. The board features true 8K Hz polling, making it the fastest low profile keyboard you can buy. That's 8000 Hz polling and PCB scan rates. Now, I know there's going to be some super fans who hear that alone and have it added to their cart, but aside from being a bragging right, I don't see any practical reason for a keyboard to be that fast. So you can dial it down in the settings. The HE switches open up the Air60 to lots of fun competitive advantage features, so let's go over them, but not in too much detail because this has become run-of-the-mill stuff these days. So rapid trigger lets keys reset instantly, making it perfect for fast strafing in FPS games. Actuate allows you to set actuation points per key so you can have light taps for movement and deep presses for abilities. Hyper tap takes that a step further, assigning 2 functions to a single key based on how hard you press. For layout customization, mod tap lets a key act as both a modifier and a regular key. For example, tap for arrow keys, hold for shift. Toggle mode locks functions until you turn them off, really handy if you're bridging over the void in Minecraft. SOCD cleaning ensures opposite directional inputs don't cause issues. Finally, dynamic keystroke adjusts how much force is needed based on how fast you type, making for a smoother, more adaptive experience. All of this, paired with 8000 Hz polling and scan rates, make the Air60 HE the fastest low-profile keyboard on the market. Now, for software, you can configure all of these features through the NuPhy IO customization tool. Now, I'm going to make a bold claim, and this tool might be every bit as good as Wooting's Wootility software, which seems to be the go-to benchmark. It's got a really clean UI, light and dark modes, and remember when I spoke about the M1, 2 and 3 modes? Well, you can configure those to some presets NuPhy offer, and I've made my M3 mode a CSGO mode because I'm never really going to use this board on a Mac. Okay, so I do want to just break out into a bit more of a live demo of the software just to give you a bit more of a feel for what's going on here. So we've got different tabs that we can go through here, but I'm going to start in the key bindings tab, and yeah, it's pretty nicely laid out. So you've got your basic characters, media control, RGB, and you can just program them across different layers, 5, 6, 7. Really nice and intuitive. And then when you right click on a key, this is where you can access, the more performance related stuff, which I'm not going to do now, but that's how you do that. For trigger settings then, yeah, it's just traditional setting your actuation point here. So for my spacebar, I've got it set all the way down, so no accidental clicks or anything like that. But you can bring that wherever you like. And on a per key basis, you can also toggle on or off rapid trigger. Just gonna glance over the macro section, but yeah, you've got your nice UI again for doing all this stuff, so big thumbs up. Across and lighten, again, nice UI. I like the little tiles here for the different effects. You've got your RGB wheels. It's about as much as you could ask for, really. Then finally in the settings tab, we've just got some basic configuration, so you can basically lock some of your keys for performance reasons, so you don't tab out of your window when you're gaming, etc. But down here, down the bottom, is where I said before, you can adjust your polling rate. So really, you can drop this down to 2000 or 1000, whatever you feel. So yeah, the software gets major kudos from me from both the UI and UX standpoint. So yeah, I want to wrap things up by saying the Air60 HE commands respect, punching way above its weight, beating out competitors like the Wooting 60HE and the Iconix Easy63 in terms of sheer value for money. Being the world's first low-profile Hall effect keyboard, I think they've done an absolutely fantastic job, and I think this combination will definitely be sought after. The build quality is typical NuPhy, so no worries there, and the typing experience really took me by surprise, and I'm a really big fan of it. Some minor drawbacks like small 60% layout and stiffer mounting style might just be things you'd want to consider, but honestly those are so nitpicky. And in terms of raw gaming performance, tick. But did NuPhy miss out at and that I also missed? Let me know in the comments. So my overall verdict is that if you're in the market for a Hall effect gaming keyboard and might not have the $170 to $180 budget for a flagship board, you definitely want to consider the Air60 HE in my opinion. And to be honest, even if you do have the budget for the more expensive options. Alright, that concludes this review. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, consider dropping a like and subscribing. It really helps the channel and it's free to do. I want to say another huge thanks to the people over at NuPhy for making this review possible.